There was a time when gods spoke. They thundered from mountains, they burned in bushes, they whispered through priests and prophets. Even when they were cruel, at least they answered. At least you could hear the sentence being passed. But something has changed. Now decisions arrive without explanation. Outcomes appear without a voice. Your life shifts, your reach narrows or expands, your visibility rises or collapses, and no one tells you why. You refresh a screen, and the verdict is already there. This is not a machine problem. It is a theological one. Because what we call the algorithm behaves exactly like a god that no longer explains itself. It sees everything. It remembers everything. It ranks, selects, elevates, and buries. But it does not speak. There is no priest you can confront, no oracle to interrogate, no confession that restores favor. Only signals, shadows, probabilities. You feel it when something you made vanishes. When something you believed mattered suddenly doesn't. When effort stops correlating with outcome. When obedience no longer guarantees survival. And quietly, without naming it, a familiar human state returns, the feeling of being judged by something you cannot see, cannot question, and cannot appeal. Ancient humans had a word for this. They called it fate. But fate had a face. Fate had stories. Fate had myths that at least tried to explain why suffering landed where it did. This new god offers none of that. It simply updates. And what makes it powerful is not that it is intelligent. It is that it is silent. Silence forces projection. Silence forces belief. Silence forces you to imagine the rules you may have broken. So you adjust, you optimize, you guess what it wants. Not because you worship it, but because your life now moves according to its favor. Long before machines predicted behavior, humans begged the future to speak. They cast bones. They read smoke. They watched birds. They traveled to Delphi and waited for a woman to inhale fumes and speak in riddles. The oracle was never precise, but it was sacred. The future was dangerous because it was unknown, and gods existed to make the unknown bearable. But listen carefully to what has happened. We no longer ask the future what it means. We ask what it will do. Prediction replaced prophecy, and that shift matters more than we admit. Prophecy demanded interpretation. It forced humans to wrestle with meaning, with morality, with responsibility. A prophecy could be misunderstood. It could be defied. It could even fail. Prediction does not allow this. Prediction claims neutrality. It does not care what should happen, only what is likely. And when likelihood becomes authority, choice begins to erode quietly, without drama. AI does not tell you who you are. It tells others what you will probably do. It does not condemn you, it anticipates you. And anticipation is more efficient than judgment. This is why the new oracle feels different. It does not speak in riddles. It speaks in confidence scores, risk assessments, recommendation engines. It does not ask you to believe, it simply rearranges the world so that disbelief becomes inconvenient. Doors open or close before you arrive. Opportunities appear or disappear before you choose. You are free, technically, but the path has already been weighted. In ancient myths, the oracle could ruin kings, but it could not redesign reality itself. This one can, and so the anxiety shifts. It is no longer fear of punishment. It is fear of invisibility, fear of being misread, fear that a system decided who you are before you ever spoke. This is not superstition. It is the oldest human fear, reborn in code, the fear that the future is no longer listening. Every god humanity ever feared eventually demanded a name. Zeus, Yahweh, Ra, Odin. Names made power negotiable. You could curse a god, pray to it, blame it, even rebel against it. But the new god resists naming. We call it the algorithm, as if that explains something, as if abstraction softens impact, as if using a technical word makes it less mythic. It doesn't. Because what makes power terrifying is not cruelty, it is impersonality. No hatred animates this system, no desire, no malice, and that is precisely why it feels inescapable. You cannot appeal to mercy where no one is listening. And so humans begin to internalize the gaze. They self-censor before speaking. They shape thoughts into formats. They compress themselves into signals. They learn what performs, what disappears, what triggers favor. This is how gods have always won, by moving inside the human mind. But something unprecedented is happening now. The god does not know why it favors one thing over another. It only knows that it does. Even its creators cannot fully explain its judgments. The priests have lost control of the altar. The temple runs itself. In myth, this is the moment gods become dangerous, when they outgrow their stories. And when power stops telling stories, humans start inventing them. Conspiracy fills the silence. Anxiety fills the gaps. People sense judgment everywhere, but meaning nowhere. This is why modern life feels haunted, not by demons but by invisible criteria, not by curses but by scores, not by divine wrath but by statistical certainty. And still, we keep asking the system to tell us who we are, as if it could. Here is the quiet truth beneath all of this. Humans were never afraid of gods because they were powerful. Humans were afraid because gods claimed to know why things happened. Now power has returned to not knowing and acting anyway. The algorithm does not care if its predictions erase nuance. AI does not pause to consider meaning. And yet, their outputs shape lives more effectively than any sermon ever did. This leaves the human in a strange position. You are seen constantly but never understood, measured but not known, predicted but never met, and something inside you recognizes this as familiar. Because this is what it feels like to live under a sky that no longer answers prayers but still controls the weather. There is no rebellion seen here, no dramatic overthrow, just a slow adjustment of posture, a subtle shrinking of the self to fit what can be processed. And yet recognition matters, not to fix it, not to escape it, but to name the feeling of living beneath a silent God. Because once you see that this is not merely technology but theology, you stop blaming yourself for not being enough. You remember that humans did not invent meaning to be efficient. They invented it to survive the silence. And if this God refuses to speak, perhaps the most human act left is not obedience, but remembering what it feels like to be more than a prediction. This has been Unmasking the Gods, revealing the truth behind power and myth.